Good morning on this warm and little bit windy day. I've been thinking a lot over the last few weeks, and I'm sure some of you have. We're all getting really COVID tired. We're getting COVID overload. We're in a situation, we're in limbo, and it's not comfortable. It's not fun. We don't know when it's going to end. There are all these unanswered questions. We've had other things come up, other things that politics and other things. The debate last night was just a horrific example of what democracy should not be. And so I don't know about you, but I've just been kind of concerned just about what's going on. And then I got to thinking about this. We had a really good discussion on our Zoom fellowship on Sunday. And it was about really what was going on and the fact that there has to be a purpose that we can't see. There has to be a purpose in everything that's going on that we can't see and we don't know. And that has to be okay, because we have to trust and we have to have faith. So in thinking about this, I wrote my today's email prayer on faith. And I have some thoughts that I want to share with you that I got. One of them is in the email prayer. And you can think of all kinds of people who could have written this, but it's a perfect person. Faith is the strength by which a shattered world shall emerge into the light. Helen Keller. Just think about how her life was in the dark. How she couldn't see, she couldn't hear. She didn't know what was going on. And yet, somebody helped her have faith. The faith to know everything would be okay. There's a few more quotes. These are from Gandhi. When I despair, I remember that all through history, the way of truth and love has always won. There have been tyrants and murderers, and for a time they seem invincible. But in the end, they always fall. Think of it, always. You must not lose faith in humanity. Humanity is an ocean. If a few drops of the ocean are dirty, the ocean doesn't become dirty. If you want to change the world, start with yourself. Be the change you are trying to create. And what I'm trying to create for my world is a world where I am totally assured and know and trust that God is in charge. And the only way that I'm going to accomplish that is to have a great belief in faith and trust and know that God is in charge. Because I can be free from fear when I trust the presence of God within me and within all circumstances. And you know, there's a thing with the mustard seed. I remember, I don't know whether any of you other ladies my age, or even guys, because there were keychains, but my aunt gave me one year for my birthday a necklace, and it was a necklace that had a little tiny mustard seed in this orb of clear plastic. That was pretty new in those days, because plastic was just starting to get invented, I think. And it was a really cool necklace, and it made me realize, even then, I was probably 8 or 9 when I got the necklace, that, you know, I learned about the mustard seed and I learned about faith. And I remembered that the rest of my life. It doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit can make the difference. And where you put that faith, which should be in God, is what grows. And so knowing that. And part part of the principle of faith is patience. We need to be patient with our faith, and that's not always easy to do, especially in a world that's chaotic and crazy and you don't know what's going to happen next. We just have to have faith. Faith is something that also involves trust. And that trust and that patience with faith is what gets us by daily, knowing if we have faith, things will change. So we can't know what's going on. I have a very, very strong belief that all this outward chaos and all of this stuff that's happening is part of a process to give us a spiritual awakening to what God wants us to be. And I truly believe that God is in charge. It isn't somebody in government. It isn't somebody in entertainment. It isn't somebody in a church even. God doesn't have a church. We may worship him in our church or any church, but God is God. God is omnipresent. He is everywhere. And we have to keep that in mind and believe it. So what I would like you to do now is to take some deep breaths, and then we're going to go within. And I'm going to lead you in a little journey within. And then I'm going to just be quiet for a while and have you think about what I've said. Okay, let's take some deep breaths. Now close your eyes. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Imagine yourself as a child. Go back and think about your childhood. For some of you, it may be younger, and some of you, it may be, maybe you were even an adult before you first really realized that God had your back. God was in charge. You didn't want for anything. You didn't question anything. You just knew. And you thought it might be your parents, who might or might not have been taking care of you the way you should have been. But there was some point in your life where you thought about God, and then you turned to God. Every time we turn to God in prayer, we have faith that He will listen. We have faith that He will take care. We have faith. We have trust. And we know that faith has been proven to us. That trust has been proven to us many, many, many times in our lives. Sometimes when we have the least amount of faith. It's like walking on the sand with God, and then there's only one set of footprints. He carries us. I always like the phrase, if God be for us, who could be against us? That, to me, is the epitome of faith, because you know and trust that God has you in His back, in His arms. He's got your back. When you're 60, as they say, God has you. Think of all the times right now God has had your back. maybe even if you didn't have the faith. And sometimes when things that weren't wonderful happened, we found out later that there was a purpose to that. We don't always know or understand. And it isn't ours to know or understand. So what I'd like you to do now is just take everything that you are concerned or worried about in your own life. Maybe even that includes the world or the country or your neighbor or your dog or your cat, whatever it is worrying you or you're concerned about or you're uneasy. Sit there for the next few minutes and let go. Let go of each and everything. Take it out of your hands and put it into God's hands, one thing at a time. Okay, let's breathe in and out and come back to the now moment. Open your eyes. And that opening of your eyes makes me think of one of my favorite songs of the stanza from it. Open my eyes that I may see fullness of truth thou hast for me. God is the truth that we need to know. Having faith will help us. And Gandhi was talking about we need to be the change we want to see. That change is fully within us. And that change basically begins with having faith and trust in God. And knowing that as things unfold, the highest good for everyone under the circumstances is what's happening. We can't judge. We can't know. Years from now, maybe we'll know. But we don't even know that. We just have to trust and know. So, I have some affirmations for you for this morning. The first one is, every step I take, every thought I think, is filled with faith. Every step I take, the second one is, I have faith in God within me and all around me. I have faith in God within me and all around me. I have faith in God within me and all around me. And the last one's really simple. I trust and know that God is. I trust and know that God is. I trust and know that God is. God is all around us. God is within us. God is everywhere. We just have to keep the faith. I hope you all have a wonderful day and keep the faith today. If you start to worry, you start to be concerned, let go. Just let go. Put it in God's hands. That's where it belongs, not in yours.